Bicycle EDC, before and after 25 years or almost 25 years of biking year round. Hey, this is the Haku Dude, and I just want to talk a little bit about my biking experiences. I biked year round. Generally speaking, I'm here in like the cold country, and so I would bike until it got to 5 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 15 degrees Celsius. A lot of time in winter with snow on the ground. Sometimes the wind chill would be below 0 Fahrenheit, almost minus 20 degrees Celsius, and biking. And so I would generally bike for exercise in the morning, and that would typically be anywhere from 15 to 28 miles biking to work, taking the long way. Biking back home from work was always shorter. I was 5 miles away from one job and about 9.5 miles away from most of the other jobs. Both of the times I would, not all the time, but I would end up in the central part of the cities, and so I was always close to a gym that I can go in and wash up, get ready to go to work. And I could literally just walk to work. And almost every place that I worked, I had indoor places to put my bike. And so I could just store my bike inside in a heat-controlled area. So I was very beneficial in that regard. But I still had to bring stuff with me in case I had a breakdown or in case I just needed it along the way. Excuse me. Some of the things that I would take along, well, there are some things here that that I haven't talked about and that are not here. For instance, I'm not going to talk about my helmet. I did wear a helmet all the time. The last two bikes that I would ride in the wintertime, I had a Salsa Timberjack hardtail, and the rest of the year I rode in REI Co-op City 1.2 hybrid bike. Both those bikes I put racks on the back of. The city bike I had fenders on. I didn't put any fenders on the hardtail because you get snow and mud and stuff caught up in there, and then that would just slow you down and just not do good things to the rest of your bike. And so there's no reason to put that there. And I always carried a pannier. Though I had two of them, of each of these, I only carried one. In like the wintertime, I carry what is called the Arco Bug. And I carried that for a long, long time. And that's a Canadian company. They have a good warranty on their bags. I looked them up just before I started this, and their bag is completely different on their website than the one I have now, and was 25 liters. The other bag that I would carry is Bugo Brothers bag, and that one's about 16 liters. And once again, that's a backpack bag. So you just pull it off the rack, sling it over my shoulders, and go do what I needed to do. I got that one. That one was about literally 1/3 or the price of the Arco bag, but I liked it. It was waterproof. It stored all my stuff well. And people have asked me, so I'll just get this out of the way, why I didn't get like an Orly bag, which are very popular, well-known bags at the time and still are. And I said, I actually had one for a couple of weeks and I didn't like it. What I realized is that both this Arco bag and this Bugle Boys bag, they both have pockets on the exterior. So I could put like the keys to my lock, which I've always carried, or I can put something on the outside of my bag. That became really important, especially in like the winter time, because I would have on gloves and things were hard to reach and things were hard to get to. And I could also take off my lights and then just drop them in like the pockets inside the bags too, if I ever got worried about someone was going to take something off the bike, which is pretty rare. I did work at a place where everything was outside, but there was cameras and various security around. I would just take stuff out. Now, because the winter time, the other thing that I would do, I would have bar mitts on the bike to keep my hands warm. My feet never got cold. I don't wear straps or any cleats or anything on either one of these bikes. So I just wear like normal shoes that someone might wear in the wintertime or in the summertime. The other thing that I got for both these is a large water bottle rack, and I think that was one of my big mistakes. I think it's called Blackburn water cage. They're huge. The thing about them is that they use straps to hold the water bottles in place, and so you could put water bottles there. You could put like a half-gallon water bottle there. You can probably put a gallon bottle there. You probably could put a gallon water bottle there because of the straps. But because of the straps, you couldn't just reach down and grab the water to drink from. And that has been the frustration. I still have them both on my bikes, and I keep saying I need to put something else there. They're now much better large water bottle carriers. And because of my biking now, that's not something that I really need to do. Now, on to the equipment that we have here. I'm going to start off with the lights. These are Phoenix lights that I carry in the winter time. Generally speaking, I would carry two lights, one on my helmet and one on my handlebars. I don't know how old these are. These BCM ones, they must be like 15 years old or older. Think about a light from 15 years ago that 2200 lumens. I mean, that was just amazing. I generally only used it it would get really hot. I mean, I could feel how hot. I generally would use it at the 800 lumen level, and that was more than enough to light the way without even turning on the other light. The other light I would primarily use if it was snowing out, it was something and like the weather was different. And I also would carry this one during the normal year because if I was coming home late at night or dark, then I would need light, so I would get these. And they're very nice. And this one has a maximum, I think, of 800, and I normally would just use the 500 lumen piece. They both come with batteries that are I think that they're like 18650 batteries is what they are. And this one has two of them. This one has one of them. I did have a special charger for like these. This one does have a way to like charge it here. It is micro USB. That's how old it is. And I thought that was really great to be able to come into work after a long bike ride early in the morning. You get up at 5:30, you're on a bike ride from 7 to 8. You have the light on for 2 hours. It gets pretty well drained, not necessarily down to the bottom, and then I just plug it in. This one, I could actually because there are two batteries here, and I only use it at like 800 at most when I do use. I usually could ride to work and ride home and then charge it once I got home. Then I had some rear ones. I had various rear ones, but these are these Blitzu. They're very cheap. They're on Amazon. They're going to be blinking in a second, but they're really good. I would put this on the back of my rack, and I could see them, 20, 30 yards away. So that was more used for, if there are other bikes that are around me or something like that, and I'm on a bikeway. Let me just tell you that even though I biked in like the wintertime, there wasn't a day when I didn't pass at least a dozen bikers in the wintertime. This is a very big biking community here. This one is actually my favorite one. I will put this on my seat stem, and this is the Solus 250. I had a 150 before I had this one. The 150 got smashed. I took it off my bike. I sat it on the ground when I was coming home from work, and I stepped on it, and I just crushed it. my full weight. I didn't even think about, while it did work, everything was just all busted on it. So I got this 251. It's very, very bright. It has a lot of blink controls on it. It works really well. And I put something on like the back of my seat post, and I put it in there. So this is on the seat post. This is at the end of the rack, and it's more than enough light for people to see, because and I only use them in blinking mode. This light here is the light in motion 180 lumens, the VIS. This is my second or third one of this one. This thing is just crap. As you can look at it now, you can tell it hasn't been used much. I don't think that I put this on my bike for more than a couple of days. I got one, and then this pivot lock broke, and it's so fragile it broke off. And once this pivot lock breaks, there's no way to attach this to your bike at all. And so instead of sending me a pivot lock, I ended up just exchanging the whole thing. And then I got that one, and I literally rode it for a week, and once again, it just popped off and broke. So instead of returning it from where I bought it, I think I bought it at REI, I just sent back, I told the company what had happened, I sent them pictures, and then they sent me a new one. And I don't think that I've put it on or used it. It's very hard to put on. It's very strange how it gets like around here to get attached, and then you hook it up, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Light and motion. I had another light and motion light too, and that didn't work out either. So I don't buy anything from Light and Motion anymore. What I would also carry, I also would carry stuff in a bag. And some of the stuff that I would carry in a bag went during various times. Early on, I carried either this Ranger or this Phil Master. I got this Ranger, I think, in like the 70s. I got this one in like the 80s. And I realized right after I started biking that these things really couldn't help me if I was in a jam on a bike because of the parts and things like that. Not very much. And so I did go and get something like this Topeak multi-tool here. And this is a really nice multi-tool. I thought I had lost it, so I brought this Crank Brothers one, which I have since lost this piece here. But then I found it, and I started using it, and I really started carrying along with it. This park tool, this M1 thing, I really like park tool stuff, and these are for like changing tires. I always carried a spare tire with me, because I thought it was easier just to change out the tire than to figure out if it was, figure it out and patch it up. I might patch it up later, but I never patch it up on the go. Of these here, I like the Topeak better and more. I shouldn't say, I like the Topeak of those two here. It had the right tools for my bikes. I didn't have to think about it. It also had like a little chain brake, which I needed once, I think actually twice on bikes. That really helped me out here. With the bike, this chain brake, well, it had one, it just didn't work as well. I never used it, but I didn't think that it was. And then occasionally, even though this had a chain brake, I got this Park Tool one for free. I don't know how, I don't remember how or when, but I got it. And this is a chain brake here, and it's just the best one that I've ever used. It takes a little bit more time and effort to use it, but it's really good. One of the stupidest things that I carried was this chain length, and the length of the chain, and then you figure out if you need to replace the chain or not. I carried this for like 8-10 years, and I realized, why am I measuring the chain? Why don't I wait till I get home? So I ended up just stopped carrying that. But I always carried this some spoke tool, because I could adjust the spokes a lot of times from going over a lot of bumps. especially in the winter time, because there's snow things and then your bumps and then the bike's heavier. If you adjust the spokes a little bit, you get a little bit better carry on your bike. The other major thing that I would use for tools later on was this ratchet rocket light. I really like this. I never ever used these. I always had something like this instead to change out my tire. And I very rarely got a flat. I think in 20 plus years, I probably, going to work and back, I probably got a flat maybe twice. Other times when I've ridden my bikes, I probably got flats maybe 4 or 5 times. So I never really got flats often. But I also exchanged this out, and I was looking for it because I put this as, I don't even know if this is the original one that came with this. I changed up for one that was 4 inches in length because I figured out that this little thing here, even though I could put that in, that there was a bunch of places on one of the bikes that I needed a little bit longer length to. This ratchet is still favored by a lot of people. A lot of EDC folks like this ratchet just because it is a really nice ratchet. It does things really well. You can handle it. It's small. You could put an extension on it. The one thing that I realized is that there was this thing here didn't come with slotted, and so I always carried a slotted one with this, and I usually carried the slotted one either in this thing here or there, because you do need a slotted one, but otherwise it did have most of the torques that I needed to have, and most of the hexes that I needed to have. And this one, you can tell it's been used a little bit, but it's still in good shape. After a while, when I realized that these are not the thing to do, I went back to, I had a Leatherman PST1. I got it from early on, and so I started carrying that instead of the Swiss Army knives, the Victorinox. And around 2000, and I want to say 3 or 4, I actually bought a Surge, but it was the first generation Surge. This is the second generation one. I ended up selling the first generation one just I think a couple years ago. But I've had the second generation one since, I don't know, 2012, 13 maybe, sometime in that framework. If I look on the inside, I see what it says here. This one says here 15, so I got 2016 or 17 for this one here, and so I would carry these around quite often. I mean, this Surge I literally would put inside my bag and carrying it, and if I needed something to twist, to turn, or screw, I would pull it out and then just use it for that. It probably got the most usage. My first generation Surge probably got the most usage on my bike than anywhere else. The last thing I'm going to talk about that I used to carry a lot of is this is a Topeak Mini pump, and I carried this one. I bought this one, I think, when they had just come out with it. I want to say maybe in the mid 2000s, and I really like it. I really liked it. It was small. I could put it inside my bag. I didn't have to strap it to my bike at all. And I could just, and if I got a flat or just needed to pump up my bike a little bit, I could do that. I never carried a gauge, but I could tell by feel when I pumped it up. For one time, for about a year and a half, I want to say around 2014, 15, in that area, I started carrying one of these things with the air canisters in them, and I got a flat tire in the wintertime on the way to work. I realized that I only could get about maybe 15 pounds of pressure in the in those knobby tires. And then once I just along and I tried it with my friend of mine's bike, and he had a road bike, and he could get like 60 pounds of pressure, 60 to 70 pounds of pressure when his bike was asking for 85 to 90 pounds of pressure. I immediately stopped that and I went back to that. I would rather pump it up so that I'm close to the rideability factor than basically just have enough to get to a gas station or someplace else that I can pump it up with, or carry multiple tubes. And maybe that's just what has happened to me, but that's the way I feel about that. So this is what I carried for almost 25 years, some combination of this in a bag, helmet, racks on bikes, bags. Now I'll go through what I carry now that I know I no longer commute, but I still love riding bikes. Now what we have here is what you would call my modern day or contemporary stuff. Now I don't carry all this stuff with me, but I carry a lot of it. First off, I want to say both my bikes that I have now have quick lock connectors. I also have one inside my car, so that's how I connect my phone and look at things when I'm riding. This is the pouch that I put everything in. I think the pouch was like $9 or something like that when I got it. Maybe the same, maybe a little bit more. And there's like little pockets here, and then there's a big pocket here where actually most everything goes in that big pocket. And then this is small enough that I can put back in my jersey, or I can drop it in like a pocket, pants pocket, if I squish it down. And it fits obviously in any kind of bag that you would have along your bike. The other thing that I've done once or twice is that I've got a carabiner and put it in there, then I put it around my handlebars. I didn't like that. It stayed on, I just did not like that. So I probably won't do that too often. But this is what I put everything in. And I think it's called a Casimite or something like that bag. If I'm going somewhere far, I will carry a pump. But just around to the neighborhood or when I bike to the gym, I don't carry a pump. If I get a flat tire, I just call my wife or I walk my bike back home, 3-4 miles back home. And I don't, and when I don't carry this, I don't carry a spare tube either. But what I do carry, though, it's still interesting, is that I still carry this little toolkit. This is called a pressed to cycle toolkit, and like a couple of years ago, I saw this on Amazon, and it's like, I think it was like $9, and I just looked it up again. It's like $10 now, but it's that, and it comes with these bits here, and it's pretty much all the bits that you need for your bikes. When I looked at my bikes, that there's a couple things that I didn't add, that although my bikes don't have slotted, I put 2 slotted in this, and I brought along an extra Phillips, even though I didn't need it. And then I also brought along this, I think it's a T8. There's on one of the bikes, and I forget which one, I need a T8. And so these had like 10, 15, 20, 25, that kind of stuff. And it has all the right hexes. I did add this thing here because, once again, I stated, there are certain places that I need a little bit of reach, and so that extra 4 inches of ratcheting is really great to be able to reach to. And that's very helpful. These rubber bands I have brought along. I've yet to use them. I see places where I could use them, but I don't. This also has a way to strip a tire if you needed to off, and so you theoretically can do this with just one, but I like to have 2 because I'm never sure what bike I'm going to have or who I'm going to be biking with. And sometimes having two is better than one at taking a tire off. I always have some kind of chapstick. This just happens to be the one that I have in there now, summertime 45 plus. For a multi-tool, I've been going back and forth, but I primarily have used this Nextool Mini flagship. I think that's what it's called. It's got some nice scissors on it. It's got a nice knife, and it's got a decent pair of pliers too. I carry this, I just throw it in there if I need to use it or not. I also generally, when I'm just around town, I just use these little crescent 4.5-inch pliers, and they work really well. I like them a lot. They actually fit right in here very well, in case I want to carry them there, or I can throw them inside. I also carry along a few of these tie-ups. Before I started carrying these, there were a couple of times when wires would come loose or needed just to be tightened or needed to be redirected on my bike, and I didn't have these, and so now I have these, and I've yet to use them, but I carry around like 3 or 4 of them just in case. This is duct tape. I have used a little bit of duct tape to patch up something that happened to like one of my shoes, 3, 4, 5-inch piece, and do it. I think that there's only like maybe 2 feet, maybe a little over 2 feet now. I think I originally started with 3 feet of duct tape on here. I also have a little boo-boo kit. Now this isn't a boo-boo kit, and also some gloves. I have the gloves because, you know, sometimes you're trying to fix a chain or something, there's all this grease and stuff. And so, but having this boo-boo kit also helps with the gloves. It's not for getting hit by a car or after a crash, but, you know, when I'm with a group and someone has, you know, a headache or something, I can pull this out, and then I become the hero of the moment. Or someone falls off their bike and scrape their knees, I can pull out some first aid burn cream and antiseptic. And then these things, you know, you can add, you know, you can put in water with soap, and people can go to like a restroom and at a gas station and feel better afterwards. So that's why that's there. Occasionally on long trips, instead of bringing this, I will bring along this. I think this is a little more versatile, and especially when I'm in like a group ride, this is just more versatile. And maybe other people's bikes, and so they usually ask about it, and I tell them, and then they ask the price, and then they go, oh no. I also bring along, I always bring along paper, and this is my, and once again, Post-it notes and a gel pen. And all the stuff that I bring fits inside here except for that. So basically, this is the boo-boo kit, fits there. These things here fit in here, and I actually have written down all the sizes of the hexes here. I did that mainly because if someone says, hey, I need something, and I can tell them, oh, you can go look in here, and there's a little thing that says the sizes, in case, you know, so that they don't have to look through every single one to make sure, oh, do I have the right size or not? And so, and it's in this little plastic bag. So I put that in here also. I generally will take the rubber bands and I will wrap them around this, although you don't necessarily have to do that, but I do that just to make sure that they're together inside here. Like I said, if I'm taking this along with me, I will put this in there. This here. A little bit of this. Occasionally I put this on like the outside, but I'm gonna put it in here for now. Then I almost always carry these on the outside because, you know, if I'm gonna use them. Pen is on the outside. Fold this over. This is about 3 or 4 pages. Generally, this is only one. Put this here. And then all I do is I zip it up. And now that it's zipped up, like I said, it's small enough that it could fit in like the back of my jersey. I could throw it on a bag. And if I needed to have it on the outside of the bike, I could literally put a carabiner there, put everything on like the inside. So that's my new setup. This is a nice little setup that I like, I enjoy. It fixes problems that I have. It fixes other people's problems also. This is Haku Dude out. See you in the future. That's my information about my past and present biking. EDC.